Go out and shut the door. Okay, chain and single crochet. We're going to start with our slip knot, cross, bring the long part of your yarn behind the little circle you just made, and pull that through. That gives you a loop. I'll do it one more time. Cross your yarn, bring the long part of your yarn behind the circle, and pull it through. When you put your crochet hook in there, if it's too tight, you won't be able to pull your hook back through that hole. And if it's too loose, you're going to end up with a big line of floppy chain that you won't be able to crochet into correctly afterwards. So the tension of your very first loop is important. It needs to be tight enough that it doesn't flop, but loose enough that you can pull through. Hold your tail end of your yarn between your thumb and third finger. Your working yarn, that's the one that's coming off your ball, will go between your index and third finger. Lay the hook in front of the yarn, pick it up and tilt it down, and as you pull back, it will grab that yarn and pull it right through your loop for you. In front, pull it up, tilt it, swivel it down, and it'll pull right through. As you work, you're going to need to move your thumb and third finger up the chain. Make sure that you're putting tension with your thumb and third finger. That actually holds this loop open. If you're using this, your working yarn, to create the tension, you're going to close your loop. All right. Now that does have to have some tension because you can't grab it and form your stitch unless it's got a little tension. But that's not, this is what's actually controlling the finished tension of your chain. So across, like so. Now, how do you count the stitches? How do I know how many stitches I've just formed? You should see a row of V's across here. You can use your plastic needle that came with your kit if you want to sort of experiment and find. See that V? That's one stitch. Here's one stitch. This V is one stitch. Now the back of your crochet chain is going to be a row of bumps. Like that. And that. It's just a single bump, okay? Your row of V's is your front of your stitch. Here, here, and that's what we're going to be working through when we start to form our single crochet stitches. So on this I have, don't count that knot. Your beginning knot is not a stitch. So from the first V, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, okay, that was 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and then one in progress is 12. And if I want to be working 12 stitches, I need to make one more so that I can go back into that 12th stitch. Now I'm going to turn and go back into the top of, when I lay this sideways sort of, you see, to make my first crochet, my actual stitch, I'm going to be going into the top of that V loop, grabbing the yarn and pulling it through. I now have 2 loops on my hook. When I pull that through, that's a single crochet. So my next one, okay. Now, where do you keep your tension as you're working across? That is personal. You might want to put it on this side. You might want to put it right underneath the stitch that you're about to take so that you can kind of go through that and put the blunt end of your hook up against your middle finger. Make sure you've got it good and open. Grab that and pull it through, and then just use that same spot to hold it and pull your stitch through. The other thing to watch out for Make sure you don't go back through that same stitch twice. If it's big and open like that, you have probably already stitched through it. Make sure you are going to your next V-leg. Here it is, here it is. Yeah, I have a whole row of those. In fact, if you need to, you can use your blunt plastic needle. Let me get back in the camera frame, sorry. And open these a bit, okay? We'll work our way across. Now it's going to curl up as you go, and that's fine. It's going to straighten itself out as we go back and forth across. Okay. Now you'll see that I hold my tension over here. Those of you who are right-handed, your left hand may have never done fine motor movements like this, so it's going to feel very awkward. It will learn, I promise. Your muscles will adjust. I came to the end. I need to go back through that stitch, but I can't. I don't have enough room, so I'm going to do one chain. That's my extra stitch at the end. I can now turn and go right back through that one. So let me turn over. I'm turned around. I'm going to go back again through that loop and do the same thing, coming all the way back. Again, if you have a hard time finding your stitch, okay, see that? I split my yarn and I didn't grab the entire yarn. I went through it. I'm going to pull just that stitch out, okay? This is the loop I'm going to go after and rescue. Go back through there and try again. There's the loop I'm going through. Get my yarn, come through cleanly this time, and come across. Because in crochet we work the front of the fabric and then we work the back of the fabric, it can be a little confusing to know where your next stitch is. You can look, you see your row of V's, use that and go ahead and open them up a bit if you need to. It will become second nature, I promise. You guys saw the second year students in there just zooming along. So, I'm going to go through and grab that, and I split my yarn again. Probably because I've been using the same yarn back and forth. My goal for this week's assignment, yes, I would like you to end up with a nice square so that you can finish your bunny. But what's most important is that you become comfortable with doing this single crochet stitch smoothly without stopping and wrapping and trying to shove it back through. You need to be able to do all of this with the hook. All right, here we are at the end again. You're going to see I'm going to take that extra chain. That's my turnaround stitch, so that when I turn around and come back, I can go back through this last actual stitch. If I don't do that extra chain, I'm going to lose a stitch on each end, and as I go, instead of having a square, I'm going to have a triangle, and it's going to get narrower and narrower as I work back and forth. Pull that and come through there, 2 loops. Another mistake, I hate to show you the mistakes for fear that you'll accidentally do that. When you if you were to go through and grab that and come through both at once, that's called a slip stitch, which is a thing and we will do that, but that's not what we're doing this week. You won't end up with the height that you need. A slip stitch simply moves you back across the line you just went without giving you another row. So you'll go back and forth